Welcome back to the Mr. I-1 YouTube channel. If you're interested in personalized patrilineal analysis and having a video created regarding your direct patrilineal line, consider becoming a Patreon member. There is a link in the description of this video. My Patreon member's earliest known ancestor was born in Puerto Rico in the 1800s. Based on surname research that he's completed and autosomal DNA results, he believes that his immigrant ancestor to Puerto Rico might have come from the historic region of Gallaecia in the northwestern Iberian Peninsula. If his research and assumptions are correct, then the Suebi would be the best explanation for how his patrilineal line entered the Iberian Peninsula. And it's interesting to note that the village where his surname might have originated is very close to the ancient capital of the Suebi in Braga. My Patreon member's current terminal subclade is the I-FTH12000 branch. Unfortunately, his one match doesn't have an earliest known patrilineal country of origin. Furthermore, family tree DNA does not have an age estimate for this branch, and I'm not sure why. So there's not much information we can glean from this subclade. Furthermore, this individual is not even listed as an STR match to my Patreon member, so I can't even see what his surname is. But because my Patreon member has 21 private variants since this common ancestor lived, I'm guessing this common patrilineal connection occurred prior to the migration period. Unfortunately, my Patreon member's next upstream subclade dates all the way back to the Bronze Age with the IA12800 branch. At this time during the Bronze Age, his patrilineal ancestors were probably still living somewhere within the red shaded regions of the following map. So patrilineal connections with this subclade are not going to be that helpful for determining how his ancestors entered the Iberian Peninsula. That being said, though, he does have some interesting ancient DNA connections that most likely can be attributed to the Saxons that descend from this common Bronze Age ancestor. Ancient samples positive for IA12800 have been discovered both in England during the early Middle Ages and Diersheim, Germany. Since the Anglo-Saxons were West Germanic tribes, and IZ58 in general correlates better with West Germanic tribes, all things being equal, I'm leaning toward my Patreon member's ancestor being part of the West Germanic Suebi tribe, as opposed to the East Germanic Visigoths, who also settled in the Iberian Peninsula, or the East Germanic Vandals, who passed through the Iberian Peninsula. Unfortunately, my Patreon member does not have any Y111 or Y67 STR matches. But that being said, he has a very promising lead at Y37, with a genetic distance of only 1. After looking at this individual's family tree, I was able to see that his earliest known ancestor was living in Almeria, Andalusia, Spain. Now this is quite fascinating for two reasons. First, Almeria is completely on the opposite end of the Iberian Peninsula than Gallaecia. Second of all, Almeria is a coastal port city. So if my Patreon member's theory regarding Gallaecia ends up being incorrect, there definitely could be other possibilities besides the Suebi for how his patrilineal line entered the Iberian Peninsula. And if the Almeria connection ends up being more significant, this could include even Vikings during the Viking Age. In my opinion, it's definitely worth it to get this Y37 match upgraded to Big Y700 to see exactly how many of those 21 private variants they share, to get a better idea when this patrilineal connection occurred. Thanks for watching.